So for more on immigration, we're joined now by CBS News reporter Kate Smith. And you have a new report out, Kate, and it's really, really interesting. We've been teasing it all morning long. You've got a report out about how ICE has been issuing fake hearing notices to hundreds of immigrants for today, telling them to show up to court. And for a lot of them, there's no hearing for them.
That's absolutely right. And I should note these are real notices, but they're fake dates.
Oh.
So basically this all stems from a Supreme Court case over the summer where they told ICE agents that if you want to issue a notice to appear, that's basically a summons. If you want to do that, you have to provide a date. They had been doing TBD prior to that. After they got that, they didn't have the infrastructure to be able to see what the court's actual availability was, so they just issued fake dates.
So this is just to get them to show up. So then what happens once they show up if they don't have a reason to be there?
Right. So this has happened before. The other big fake date was October 31st. And I spoke to attorneys who were at courts when that happened. One in particular was in Charlotte, North Carolina. He said it was complete mayhem because you have 200, 300 people showing up to a courthouse. It's just simply not prepared to handle those people. Oftentimes these people don't speak English, so they're going up to the window, the court, being like, I was told that I have a case at 8:30 in the morning, and if I don't show up, I'm going to be deported. Again, they're saying this in a language that the court administrator does not speak.
Totally.
200 people, 300 people doing this. And they said it was a complete mess. It was one of the just messiest situations they've ever seen in court.
I can't believe that this is the best remedy. When I sort of initially read, bits of information about your story, I thought, oh, maybe this is a way of tricking people to show up. Mm-hmm. But it's not really. I mean, no. It's just because they can't send a summons without a date, so they just put a random date on there and hope that some of them will get a court hearing and some of them won't?
I think that's the
immigration hearing?
Yeah, that's the strangest part of this story is that you read it and you think there must be something else going on.
Yeah.
There must be a reason, and there's simply not. What happens is once you receive a court summons, it kicks off your deportation hearings. So ICE agents want to start that process, but they can't do it without a date. Instead of waiting to be able to do that legally, they just do it without the date.
Have you heard from ICE at all?
No. They got back to me yesterday. They said they'd have a comment in the morning. We haven't heard back yet. But I'd also love to note that January 31st, today, is not the worst that they've given. They've given people dates like September 31st, which is not a date. They've given people midnight. They've given people weekends. So they've done everything they possibly can do to confuse these immigrants.
And all I can think of is the unintended consequences. Like you talked about the chaos, but I would think if they get another notice, they might be like, is this even real? Why should I bother showing up?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of immigration attorneys I spoke to talked about the unintended consequence of people being just a mistrust in the system.
Yeah.
And the big thing is that if you don't show up to a hearing, you're automatically deported. That's it. So, I mean, they might not trust the system, but they're not willing to gamble with that.
Kate, fascinating report. Thank you so much. You can read the full report, and I think you should, about these immigration court dates by visiting